My name is Semler, and with me is Vendetta and Ven. We'll get into the topics. But first, I want to ask, how you doing? Everything good, man?
I'm doing all right. Tiny bit sleep deprived, so nothing new.
No, that's pretty usual for you.
Yeah, pretty usual. Other than that, doing swell. Yeah.
You're usually the one who's like, well, okay, hold on. It's like, what game have you been playing the most of lately? We'll put it that way.
I think you know which one.
You know that
because you've been playing it as well.
You know that the patch is coming out today.
Dude, it's already out. I've already done world bosses.
Get out.
No, like this is the problem with my fucked up schedule, right? So I'm there. I'm ready. Like when rolling restarts happen on the servers, I'm just like, God damn it, this is downtime. Like that's where I'm at right now.
Dude, that's what's killing me. I mean, it's just I don't have much time to play, right?
True.
And like I'm doing all the prep for Overwatch. I'm doing the prep for New York. I'm like doing stuff for Room on Fire, and then I'm like watching on my second monitor. I'm watching like Lyric Raid or something. I'm like, motherfucker. At least I'm getting to like watch it through Lyric's eyes. But
true, but you don't get to have all the fun yourself.
No,
that's the big issue, right?
I know that's the thing. It's like the eternal struggle.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like, what's sick? Hello, everybody. And in case you're wondering what the hell we're talking about, we're on a segue already.
Yeah.
We're talking about WoW and the raid patch that just came out right now.
Or it's Emerald Knight, isn't it?
Emerald Nightmare or something like that. Yeah. I mean, dude, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
So far, this expansion has already been like 10 times better than Draenor.
Than
Draenor.
All expansions.
Well, I mean, it's been a while since I've actually enjoyed it this much.
Like Wrath, maybe was the last time that it was.
Yeah, Wrath was really fucking sick though.
Yeah.
Like I really enjoy that. I hope there's like a Old War kind of raid.
Yeah.
And this expansion, that would be so sick. I love Old War.
Like that's like a stroll down memory lane. Because like Wrath was, I didn't even have a PC that could run well back then, so I was literally going to the LAN cafe every day after work. So I'd show up early to work so I could leave an hour early so that I could hit raid time because most of the guild were on the East Coast. So,
that's dedication,
dude. It was good. It was good. And then I discovered the glory of DLC and basically gave up on WoW and started playing Blood by Champions 24 hours a day as much as I could.
I mean, I guess you could say it worked out in the end, right?
Well, because BLC I could play on my laptop. Like that was the thing. I couldn't play WoW on my laptop, but I could play BLC on my laptop.
True, and WoW probably wouldn't have brought you to Sweden. DLC did. Right?
DLC definitely did, yeah.
So without, I guess DLC fucking up your WoW dreams, I guess, and your raid progress, there wouldn't be any similar today.
It's basically it, yeah. Because I mean, I spent because that was one of my all-time favorite jobs that I've had was running this coffee shop. And that whole coffee shop, man, was literally just full of like students and young like working people, and the whole place was just WoW people. And so literally you'd walk through this coffee shop and it would just be like every table was having a different discussion about some topic in WoW. Like whether it be PvP, raiding, min-maxing, whatever. And so you could literally just bounce from table to table and just like, oh yeah, somebody says like, oh man, I'll be basing this. And you just be like, fuck that shit. And then you get in there and like start having
so
these like crazy WoW conversations.
So you were basically doing theory crafting at work.
Yeah, dude, that was that job was the shit.
Jesus.
So it'd be either like discussions on like books and movies and shit like that because it was just a bunch of video files and stuff coming in, who were watching shit on their laptop, drinking their coffee. I mean, this was the last coffee shop that actually had that you could smoke indoors, right?
Okay, yeah.
And in Los Angeles, right, in the greater LA area. And so everybody, like, if you like to have your coffee and you enjoyed your cigarettes, you were at that coffee shop, right? And so it was just all sorts of people who were up at all hours of the night, and a lot of them were gamers, and so nonstop WoW talk. I kind of miss that, man, because I was like, you don't really.
Didn't you go back there though?
Yeah, I went back.
Yeah.
And it's totally different now.
They fucked it up?
They completely fucked it up, basically. One of the and this is what really did my head in, is like it was one of the OG people that I remember from way back who used to be a regular there, who went off, did some other stuff, came back, bought the coffee shop from the old owner who didn't want to run it anymore because that guy he had a full-time job, and then he tried to turn it in. Like, the beauty of that coffee shop is that it didn't make money, but it didn't cost money either, and so it just existed. And so the whole point of owning it was just like, it was just self-perpetuating, you know, it just continued to run. And this guy tried to turn it into something that would make money, and just completely killed the soul of the place. Like, none of the old people go there anymore. None of it. It's just totally different.
Does he make money though?
I don't even know if he makes money. You know, that's the thing. He might have killed the soul of this place.
Might have fucked it up badly.
Exactly. Still not made money. Goddamn crying shame.
That's how it is.
Make money.
New entrepreneurs, right?
Dude, that's right, Funky Love. Entrepreneurs, I know, right? It's all about making skrill. We should get Thorin on here. You know, you can talk to
Dude,
him.
I did a podcast with Duncan yesterday.
Get out.
Yeah, no, we got on the topic of Skrilla. Obviously. Yeah, I think it was Jason who brought it up, actually.
Oh, wait, hold on. Was it by the numbers that you did?
Counterpoints.
It was counterpoints. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I think it's coming out today, sometime.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, dude, that's always the best. It's like the best, like, to have on like podcast format, and you just kind of like you leave it on and you're listening, and you know you're getting ready or whatever, right? And you got that going. Like that's the shit right there. Sick, dude. I'm glad to hear that. All right, cool. So that's gonna be coming out tomorrow or today.
Yeah, like one of these days, whenever Duncan feels like it.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. All right, cool. So guys, be sure to tune into that. It's what's his YouTube again? Thorin with 3 O's, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So YouTube, search for Thorin with 3 O's, and check out the VOD there. All right, what do we want to talk about though? I think that's the question, because we've gone down like memory lane for a little bit. It's fine. I do enjoy it. But we actually need to talk about some CS. And it feels like there is a kind of like a variety of things to talk about.
I mean, what did you guys cover last time with the intro during the State of CS?
Oof.
Because that was just like, it's only last week, right? So
Yanko was like the week before.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Last week was Anders and I. I think we just covered, you know, like thoughts on Star Series.
Did you guys do E-League, like the preliminary stuff? Had that happened?
No, I think that was like ongoing at that point last week, wasn't it?
It could be.
You had E-League and you had Star Series going at the same time, which made it really awkward to watch, basically, because you're obviously going to watch Star Series, and rather than watch, like, it was really weird how they did that, because basically, like, what, it's like, I don't think the teams were in the studio, and you had teams that were playing Star Series and then playing from Star Series in E-League. I don't know how the hell that worked.
Yeah, like E-League have so many qualifiers, I feel like.
Except that this is like the preseason, basically.
Yeah,
so
they haven't done, like, the prelim stuff that they did for NA, they haven't done for EU yet, right? The preliminary rounds, or have they?
That's supposed to start now.
No, yeah, no, actually, yeah, they have done the prelim. Yeah, actually, yeah, that's what they were doing during Starladder.
Yeah, E-League Season 2 was during Starladder, that was EU, and then NA came the week afterwards, going into Bucharest.
Yeah.
And so you had some teams there for North America. That's also why, like, Thor and Moses, they were over in Atlanta. This week, there's nothing going on E-League related, and then next week, obviously, is E-League Overwatch. The Overwatch tournament going into ESL New York, basically. That's the next big thing I think that's going to break, because I don't think there's anything this weekend as far as like LAN tournaments are concerned. I think everybody's focusing on New York for the end of the month. So I mean, we could talk about New York if we want, because it is definitely looking like pretty goddamn like Arnold Schwarzenegger stacked, you know?
Oh, dude, it's gonna be good. I mean, you guys are going. It's gonna be in the fucking Barclays Center.
Yeah, and
that's so baller.
What's bizarre as well, I mean, actually, what's the format? It was already been revealed. I mean, they're doing the Swiss format for the groups.
Which is good. We like that.
We like Swiss format.
Yeah.
Definitely. And if you're not familiar with how Swiss format works, you need to win 3 maps to move on to the playoffs, and if you lose 3 maps, you're out. And so you're basically always playing against other teams that have the same scoreline as you. So it just like slowly weeds everybody out.
And you get plenty of chances to fuck up.
Basically,
still make it back.
Well, I mean, you've always got New York coming up right now, and what's fun is the tournament. I mean, basically, what wasn't that the recent announcement made by Westside or something, that it was the players that settled on a format for a tournament? Was it going to be Oakland, or was it going to be Pro League? I think it was going to be the Pro League finals.
Yeah, it could be Pro League finals, because I don't think we've heard anything about Oakland yet.
Yeah,
at least not officially.
No, you're right. It wasn't Oakland. It was the Pro League finals.
Yeah.
Okay, we can talk about New York first, and we can move on to the Pro League finals, because Pro League is obviously going to be coming a bit later. But I mean, I just kind of get a giggle out of out of the whole player union deciding on a format, which is basically like ESL tried to make it sound new, like, oh, this is a new format, and I'm like, it's just the Katowice format. Like,
yeah,
that's
literally
kind of what they decided on. They're playing a round robin group stage. You get first seed, you get your bye into the semis.
And I think everyone was kind of, everyone had kind of figured out after the Katowice qualifier, like, oh yeah, this is how it should be in the future anyway. Seemed like all the teams enjoyed it, and like the viewers joined it. You got a ton of good games from it.
I think it's just going to place a big demand on how they're going to set up the infrastructure for the event, because you need a lot of PCs to run it that way, right? The round robin format. You don't want people switching in and out all the time.
It's going to be 8 teams, right?
Yeah, isn't it?
So you need 40 PCs plus a couple for coaches. If they're is the coach rules going to be in place for ESL New York?
Well, aren't ESL already adopting the coach rules? Like right after?
Yeah, but they're still allowed in Pro League Online games, aren't they?
Pretty sure, yeah.
So I don't know.
It's up to the teams, I think. Like I think Navi or so running Starks is the shot caller. I mean, they just announced that Seized is, but I think he's more like he's in training until there's actually something like.
Is the young Podlon right now?
Dude, this is the weird thing with this whole scenario is that the players made a lot of noise about having some kind of follow-up conversation with Valve. I guess because we haven't heard anything since, that Valve basically said, our rule stands. Yeah. Or something positive, for the players didn't come out of that conversation. It's like totally
or the
dark.
Conversation just never took place.
Or it just never took place.
Which wouldn't surprise me at all.
There is a player Skype. If we can call it a union, there's a player Skype chat.
Super organized, I heard.
Yeah, exactly. They probably typed a lot in like all caps.
Oh yeah. Somebody hit the video conference call button, invited like 126 people into the same call. Just beautiful. I think one guy tried to mediate everything.
I feel like this is going back to ancient Athens or something where it's like 501
yeah
people in the council ready to listen to your thoughts. Go.
I mean, that's pretty much what they do in UK still, right? Parliament,
yeah.
Yeah, it's just a clusterfuck. Everybody shouting at each other.
It's fun because I think it's like Australia that releases the VODs as well of those meetings. It's like one person standing in the middle trying to speak, and then it's just rows of people sitting around them shouting at him. It's
like they actually start throwing shit too. Like it goes completely primal at times there. Like especially like during the Brexit talks, like people are throwing papers and shit. It was absolutely nuts.
I kind of want that to happen for CS though, except that like none of the players are that excitable. Like most of the players would just be like, yeah, okay, and then that would be like the extent of their
I wonder if
frustration.
you had like one or a couple of really outspoken guys who just like fly off the handle for certain topics.
Who would that be? Yes, who would that be for CS? It wouldn't be any of the Swedes.
No, for sure not. I'm thinking maybe one of the NA teams, maybe. But then again, nobody from Cloud9.
Nobody for Cloud9. I mean, maybe nothing, but no.
Yeah, no. I think you'd go about it in a mild manner.
Nothing would most definitely go about it in a mild.
I guess
you'd probably like put the hand on the shoulder, like the back, your shoulder blade, and just be like, let's talk it out.
Exactly.
Like that would be nothing style.
I can see Taz getting loud about stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I could get behind Taz. I could definitely get behind Taz riling things up. Then maybe like a French player, but even the French players not so much. I mean.
Yeah, no, I think that maybe MBK would definitely be outspoken, but I think he would be diplomatic in his presentation.
He's usually the outspoken one for the French scene, anyways.
Yeah.
He'll come on the talk shows. He'll actually have the discussions.
I think it's down to the Eastern European teams here to bring the fire. Like you just send Simple there.
If you send Simple there, yeah. I think that he I don't know if that would be constructive though. It's not really a good idea to throw things at the guy who's talking.
I mean, we're there for the clash, right? We're there for the spectacle of it.
I mean, didn't Guardian used to rage to the point where he'd hit people with his mouse or something as well?
I mean, I think a lot of people have done that through the years. I mean, I still remember Cajun after going out at a Danish LAN in CSS, just immediately flipped out and tried to sell his PC on the spot, right after they tapped out. Just like ready. He was like selling his monitors, selling his PC. It's like it's over, it's done.
That's right. All right, so Cajun definitely out of the Danish crew, he could definitely speak up.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to picture this round table right now.
I mean, if we give them a couple of drinks, I think Apex can get pretty loud as well. It becomes a lot more interesting if you introduce alcohol to the picture.
That's what I was saying, except that Taz is going to start crying. He's just going to say that it's all unfair.
True.
So that's not going to really achieve anything.
Well, I mean, I'm not looking for progress in any sense. I'm just looking for entertainment. Just want to see the world burn.
Exactly. Right. At this point, I don't even. All right, hold on. We're all over the place here now, man. Like.
All right, so ESL New York.
Bringing it back.
ESL 1 New York. Pretty stacked tournament, honestly. But last team hasn't been announced yet, has it?
No, apparently they're still, or at least HLTV released it a couple days ago, or yesterday, I think. There's still like SK go up against the North American qualifier winner.
Okay, yeah, so the matchup's settled for the first round. Yeah, I can see it now. It's VP Fnatic, G2 Astralis, SK versus whoever wins the NA qualifier, and then Navi versus Liquid.
So let's see. I mean, I have the link now for the qualifier, so we could try and speculate on who's going to make it, and that's right. That's right. This is the tournament that Optic beat Immortals in.
Yeah, exactly.
So Immortals are out.
2 days ago or something.
Yeah, that was when the internet flipped its shit and was starting to actually get worried about the Immortals, I guess. I don't know, or just like what the hell happened with Optic and how the hell did they actually beat Immortals. Might be the more accurate way to look at it. TSM took out Echo Fox. And we're still waiting on Cloud9 and CLG to play, but I imagine Cloud9 are kind of just going to stomp their way through that one. They should stomp their way through TSM. I mean,
it should be a Cloud9 Optic finals, and at that point, obviously I'm going to favor Cloud9 to take that, but I don't know. I feel like Optic is one of those NA teams that can just go off for a best of threes and just, beat any of the NA teams as of right now.
So, I mean, the top half of the bracket is yet to be played out, basically. So Cloud9 versus CLG. TSM beat Echo Fox. So TSM are waiting for whoever wins Cloud9 CLG. And then you'll have that match to decide who goes on to face off against Optic. And then I imagine it'll be a best of three, basically, to sort out who's going to be that last team. So, ideal world, we're looking at Cloud9 versus Optic, and then one of those guys going up against SK.
What a lovely gift.
That's, SK on LAN as well. Because, I mean, sure, SK have been a little shaky lately online. But,
they've been playing like a stand-in there. They haven't had that much time to get back into the groove of things, have they?
Well, they'll have a week.
He's been back in like, what? Yeah, he's been back for a week, roughly, right? Because I feel like I saw Fallen tweeting about meeting for at the airport or something.
I mean, they have like a week basically to boot camp.
Yeah.
Like monsters.
Well, they're definitely going to do that. They're going to spend their time wisely.
What I like about this is that... What's up?
Do they have a lot of Pro League games in the meantime? Or are they actually going to get like effective practice time?
No, I don't know, man. Hold on. I see SK playing against Sofa King Good.
Okay.
And that is in the ECS Season 2 NA Development League, whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah, and they're playing Echo Fox and EPL after.
What is this? NA Development League.
Yeah, it's like the Premier to ECS Premier, like Elite Division, I guess if you want to call it that.
Right, where you can either rank up or get
just
screwed.
stay put, pretty much.
Exactly. Okay, so Immortals, Renegades are both playing in the NA. Renegades kind of teetering. SK 3-0 so far. Okay, so I mean they're going to be playing that. I mean I wouldn't exactly call that the best practice.
No, definitely not. But I don't think it's going to take away too much from their practice time either. I think that's like when they're going up against SKG, it's going to be like, okay guys, we've got a game. And then they just hop in, play, disconnect, done, and then go back to practice. Because they're not going to prepare for SKG. Like, let's be honest.
Probably not. I could have. I mean, the thing is, like, yeah, you could prep by. I mean, one thing that you could do that could be interesting if you're SK is you could run a bunch of shit that you don't want to.
Stuff.
Exactly, you don't want to run against people who are actually going to be at New York. So that could be one thing. Except that it's going to be like official games, so it's not scrims. So, like VP could go and find those VODs or something like that. I don't know. That's a little awkward, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, if I'm SK, I would rather do it versus a lower tier opponent than, let's say, you're playing Cloud9 or Liquid in EPL.
Yeah.
Instead of busting it out there, because that's a very obvious game for VP to look at, for instance.
That's fair.
So if you want to do it against scrub teams that you have kind of the room to fuck up with. So if your new strats don't work because you haven't practiced them well enough, it's not, it hasn't been dry run enough times, then it's not the end of the world. But if you do that versus a team that can legitimately punish you for it multiple rounds in a row, then you're starting to look at an issue. Mm-hmm. And I think SK got off to such a rough start in EPL as well that they can't really afford to lose all that much more if they want to get to Sao Paulo. Because they started off the season terribly. Yeah, like they're 8-4 right now. So they're in 6th. So they're barely ahead of Optic Gaming, but they got a couple of matches to spare there.
Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, you don't want to like mess about in the EPL at least.
Well, it was Liquid as well, who had a really rough start. Kind of expect to see them a bit higher up there, but
yeah.
That's dude. Imagine a world where it's just like somehow.
But an SK don't make it.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
It would be weird if like Immortals is the Brazilian representative at it, like finally a big plan in Brazil and not SK.
Yeah, that pretty like catastrophe comes to mind. I think is like the key word there.
This is a nice way of putting it. But I expect SK to kind of clean up the rest of the season. I think they still have Cloud9 to go. But other than that, they've already played Team Liquid, so they don't have to worry about them. Mm-hmm. They got like Echo Fox, E United, Splice, and Selfless, I think. Maybe Optic as well, which should be doable for them.
Have they played Cloud9 yet?
No, that's like the one. That's like the one. Well, they've got Immortals left too, actually. So that those two games are probably going to decide their fate. Cloud9's been tearing it up. Like, I think Cloud9 just like yesterday or something dropped their first map.
Yeah, they're 17-1 right now.
Yeah,
which is nuts.
Yeah. They dropped it to Echo Fox. Echo Fox has actually been doing pretty well in EPL so far. They've been doing alright for themselves.
Yeah, which is, I mean, like Sean seems to be fairly pleased so far. Fairly.
I mean, he's the kind of guy who's always looking for improvements, right?
Yeah.
So he's never going to be fully satisfied.
I think what's interesting is Renegades are also doing pretty good right now. It's got to be one of those feel-good things for Sponge at least. Oh, sorry,
yeah.
For Chad. Doesn't want us to call him Sponge anymore.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, still got to do it.
Sorry, Sponge. That's your name.
Yeah.
Accept
I mean, yeah, exactly. He's stuck with it. It's going to be with him forever.
What you have done to yourself.
Renegades have actually gotten, they've played versus most of the strong teams in EPL so far. Like, they lost in overtime to Cloud9. They lost pretty heavily versus Immortals, but they beat Liquid. They got a default win over... No, not a default win, what am I saying? But I guess, the infamous Cold Zero Showtime stuff happened when they played SK.
That's right.
So they've got a pretty doable route to close out the season. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Renegades end up being amongst the qualifiers with where they're at right now. Like, I don't see... Yeah, it's going to have to be like a miracle run from Liquid or Optic to kind of bump them out while SK keeps performing and everything. Should be interesting to see how that closes out.
I mean, it's just such a long process. Fucking 18 games that Cloud9 had to play.
Yeah.
Like, alright.
I mean, they've gotten over there. I guess they've done, in a sense, they've done it, well. Because, they've played pretty much all of their games in EPL so far, which is going to allow them to have a more lenient schedule going forward. Mm-hmm. And they've done so with success as well. So, I mean, I think they're probably guaranteed a spot right now, aren't they? I would be surprised if they weren't. They've got 51 points. I don't think there's any chance in hell that they're not going to make it to the playoffs because they've got 4 games left.
What, Cloud9? Yeah, I highly doubt it.
Yeah. So Cloud9's already alive, so they can already start going. Not necessarily easy, but
they can definitely stress a little less.
Yeah, exactly. So they can focus on other stuff. So with them going to tournaments in Europe and everything right now, they can focus more on that, which should be good for them, and not have to stress out about having to qualify for this because they've already locked that down early on. While the other teams have fumbled about at the beginning, they definitely need to get their shit sorted.
Well, I mean, it must mean that Cloud9. Hold on, let's see. Can we check at least today? North American matches. Give me Cloud9's CLG, please. Nope, I don't see it. Because this is gonna get a little tricky. I mean, it looks like CLG have a bunch of Pro League games tonight, but I mean, New York is next weekend, so you're still waiting on your North American qualifying team, right? And if you're Jack right now, the owner of Cloud9, you're just kind of like, meh. Although I don't think that. I mean, the players, the teams are probably getting travel support. So actually, it's probably ESL who are just like, please play your game so we can book your tickets.
True.
These are flights to New York, which are never cheap.
It's very true. Even though you're inside the country, the Cloud9's based in Los Angeles, aren't they?
Yeah, like Santa Monica or something. So I mean,
yeah,
they're on the other side. That's a 6-hour flight. I remember making that flight and enjoying it.
It's actually pretty nuts. Getting from LA to New York is nearly the same travel time as getting from Oslo to New York.
Yeah, Oslo to New York, London to New York. I'm super excited. Well, it's more like whenever I can get that's the nice thing about E-League is that you're still on the East Coast, even if you are a little further south. I mean, it's still like you're in single-digit flight time instead of getting into the double-digit nightmare of fly to Los Angeles. Like
11 hours.
11 hours later.
How fun.
Instead of like the 8.5 hour, 9 hour flight that you get from Atlanta. So I mean,
yeah, definitely makes a difference. For sure.
It's nuts how big a difference. Like if you're in single digits, you're still feeling good. It's like the double digits of flying out all the way. Kill yourself.
Oh, dude, like the flight we had to Taipei.
Yeah, 14 hours get wrecked.
That utterly fucked me. Holy shit. Like, I felt great the first day when we landed. I was like, alright, I can deal with this. Not feeling any jet lag. When the night set in, I was just utterly wrecked. Holy hell. I did not deal well with that.
I mean, Boogie Bagels, you're right. You're absolutely right? You have to consider windage and falling against the Earth's rotation and all that jazz, right? So obviously it's for a short flight. Shorter flight one way. That was what wasn't that? But like going to Taipei was like a 10, 11 hour flight, and then coming back was like the 13-hour madness flight or something like that. I can't remember. It's
that was rough both ways.
And especially because you have to fly around China. Like you can't just fly straight over, which would be very handy and nice. Instead, we're going all the way around. It's just like, come on.
I remember actually, like one of the star ladders I went to when all the Crimea stuff was going on. At its worst, the flight route was extended by like an hour or so because you had to go around Russia, like by a fair margin, to get to Kiev.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no, that was interesting, and a propeller flight, of course. That was always a good time.
So to close out on New York, I mean, for a team that caught a bit of a tough break, Fnatic also not really digging their matchup there to start versus VP. It's gonna be a bit of a tough one for Olaf and the boys.
Assuming VP shows up like the Bucharest VP and not the Star Letter VP.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like this is you never really know with VP, do you?
Especially because they just won a tournament, and so they might all be just Pasha's just sitting there curling iron,
resting on their laurels.
Exactly. I might be a little worried about the back-to-back performance from VP. Or maybe I mean it's always possible, obviously, that it might just go down a few points.
Yeah, I think for like Fnatic, for them they can only go up from where they started.
Yeah, considering they're like 28th ranked or something on HLTV right now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they pretty much just got erased from the rankings because of their lineup changes.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. It shouldn't take them too long to get back into things, though. Even though I wouldn't say the lineup today is, anywhere near the old one. But yeah, they can only go up from here. So, and I think for VP, there's much more of a fall height, just coming off a win at Bucharest and everything. But you know, they VP do well in stadium events usually, so should be a good matchup.
And then we go down to G2 versus Astralis.
I fear for Astralis. Holy hell.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on them right now? Because every time I talk with Anders, it just feels like he wants to cut himself. So I mean, like, what do you think?
Yeah, he wants to cut himself, and then he goes like, "But don't worry, they'll win the next major."
Yeah, he's the one. Like he was writing it out, tweeting it in leet speak. Astralis. You should.
I don't know. I think they've gotten to. I think they've broken Anders completely at this point. Like he's just in this delusional state where everything's fine, so good. Got a backup plan. Like this is the the big scheme. They've made everyone lose hope. Now they're gonna strike, come back with a vengeance.
Well, I mean, you have to give it to Astralis at least. They did qualify, so they went through the qualifiers to get that spot.
And to get through that qualifier, they actually played really well.
Yeah, they had to beat Dignitas. That's never easy for Astralis. They had to beat Envious. Again, not super easy to do when you're Astralis.
And they just kind of stomped on FaZe as well.
Which is definitely interesting.
And FaZe was playing really well. Like, they had that stretch of online games where they're playing super well. So they started off with getting Godsent in that qualifier and then beat Mousesports 2-0 as well. And in the meantime, that's when they're starting to get back into things in EPL as well. So, yeah, that was definitely like an uplifting performance from Astralis. But then, they come back and don't do too well at Star Ladder. So I don't know. I don't feel too hot with Astralis going into that, like, because every time you talk to them, it's the same story all over again. It's like, yeah, we're going through a rough patch, but we're working on it. We're gonna come through shining.
Yeah.
And it just never seems to find they never seem to find like a good answer. And right now, I think it's more down to the fact that just individual players on the team aren't really playing as well as they have done in the past. I think Dupree has been very on and off as of late, which is obviously like a big thing for Astralis because he's, their entry fragger. So you lose a lot of momentum going into that. TE sides become way, way harder. And I think it also like weighs down on, the players themselves. Dupree is the kind of guy who gets really down on himself. He feels like he's not performing up to the level he holds himself to.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, wasn't it at the beginning of the year that certain stats came out that Astralis basically live or die off of Dupree? If he's like positive or even rating, then they win. If he's negative rating, they lose, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like except for like the outlier game where Device just goes God mode.
Yeah, like that's I mean that's a lot of weight to have, especially if you're like the entry right? Because it's not an easy role. Super difficult to maintain a high level in that role. And then your whole team is just like, hey, I hope you don't mind, but we're all gonna pile on your back here for a second.
Yeah.
He's
like one of those. What do they call them? The guys who, when you go up Mount Everest, you have these Sherpas.
Oh, the Sherpas, yeah.
Yeah, Dupree's like the Sherpa of Astralis. So he carries all the bags, everything, like up the mountain, and then the guys who are basically just straddled up the mountain. They take, the selfie at the top, and then they go down. The poor Sherpa gets no credit.
He's got a bit of like, well, I mean, for some reason, yes, obviously Sherpas, men, who do that. But for some reason, I almost picture him as like a pack yak. Or like, with that hair. And I just, he's got that shock. I could totally see him as a pack yak. Just walking up the hill. I mean, when he gets into his game, he looks unstoppable, right? Yak is pretty big. If you're in the way of a yak, most likely you're getting out of its way. So I could see where this works.
Exactly. So I think if Astralis are going to have any success at New York, I think it's going to have to be Dupree coming back to form and forming that deadly duo, the double V's.
Dude,
I miss those times.
It's it feels like it's been a very long time since Cologne. For some reason, I always think back to Cologne 2015. Where I felt like that was their time, and then Device's mouse got crushed, and you had to play with a different mouse that pretty much cost them the semis. I mean, I don't know. It's just such a close game. And then,
they really haven't had fortune on their side a lot of the times.
No.
But then again, they are their own worst enemy. in a lot of these situations.
Well, that was the thing, right? Where I was always, in particular, that sort of scenario. That was where I started to get really outspoken with the players. Where I was just like, please use peripherals that can be replaced easily, or bring an extra one with you. So
I mean, if they're sponsored, like if you're sponsored by a company, just be like, give us 5 of everything.
But that's what you would think. But then some of the players are even going so far as to use like test mice and shit that hasn't even been released yet. And
yeah,
I'm like, why are you doing that to yourself?
That's complete madness.
Yeah, exactly. If something goes wrong with that, and you've spent the last month playing with it, and you know, and you lose it, it breaks, whatever, you're screwed.
Yeah, like even if you have to revert back to your old mouse, the one you've been used to for like let's say a year or so, it's still gonna feel weird. Like that's a transition period. Like at least, well, I guess some players don't care too much about peripherals, but at least I know in my own case that if I don't get the right mouse, I'm just completely out of it. It just feels wrong.
It's like players like Top Gun though. Like Top Gun actually. Top Gun?
Yeah, Top Gun.
Yeah, Top Gun. Like it was at the Asia Minor dude at Taipei, remember?
Yeah,
where he was using like a 10-year-old IntelliMouse or something like that.
Yeah, like the 1.1 or something.
And like he's like, oh yeah, this is what I've been using since like the days of CGS or something. I was just like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like,
I don't understand how that doesn't break. Because I've used like the Logitech series of MX 510s, 518s, G400, G400S, and I've had probably about like 35 of them or something, and they always break. And
well, you also rage. Like, you also get. I mean, well then again,
but
Top Gun's a big guy. If he were to slam his mouse around, I imagine.
Well, they would get smashed into pieces. But like when I rage, it's more like it goes on my keyboard. Like that's where all the anger gets released. So my
you have
mouse,
spare switches.
Well, weirdly enough, like the keyboard I have right now hasn't taken a dent yet. I guess that says more about my strength than anything else, but it's a sturdy keyboard, right?
I was gonna go on the angle like, oh, it's brand new, unboxed, it hasn't had the joy yet of getting punched, but
this has seen some hard times, for sure. my table as well.
Yeah, dude.
I have this like shelf under the table, which is like, it's not wood all the way through. Like the bottom part of it is just like some cardboard kind of deal that has multiple holes in it. That's for my knee just going right through it.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, these like. It's funny because you don't really pick it up too often, but some of the players are like that too. Like I still remember Olaf Meister putting a hole in the desk at Fragbite, a year and a half ago, where he literally just punched a hole into the desk. Like Bialy's cut his hand open on his keyboard, slamming it on his keyboard before. Like
the Vice of DreamHack Summer, like smashed out his keyboard switches.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right in the admin.
Yeah.
Like no wait, that was Crims, wasn't it? Yeah, Crims at Pro
Crims
League.
done it as well. Yeah.
You remember that where he just like smashes his keyboard, keys fly everywhere, and then like 2 minutes later, an admin comes up like holding the keys. Like, here, please take these back. Like, you might need them.
Yeah. It's like the diffuse button or something.
People gave me shit for overhyping it or overreacting to Flusha at E-League, but that was like the angriest I've ever seen Flusha. Like Flusha doesn't necessarily he rarely shows emotion that way.
Sweet in general,
dude.
That's why it's the same thing when you mentioned Olaf Meister at Fragbite Masters. Like, we were super surprised about it. It was like, holy shit, Matic's falling apart now. That was what went through our heads because you'd never see it from any speed ever.
You don't just see raw emotion that way, no. And especially guys like Flusha. That I was just like, what the fuck? Like he hit his table and like his mouse goes flying and shit. I was like, what is going on? That's it. That's it. They've lost.
Yeah.
Basically, that it's like the mental checkout happens at that point.
Yeah. Nah. Like I think every player goes through it. Like every player has those moments. It's just a matter if it gets caught on camera or not. Well, I guess that's like the big thing with all these cameras now on the players all the time is that we're actually getting to see it a lot more. Like you're seeing the Twitch clips or whatever make it to the front page where it's like Miggy's boy slamming his desk or Kenny S, Kenny S showing frustration after failing the clutch. Oh yeah, by the way, side note on that, I wish events would start placing the webcams not on top of the monitors,
Yeah.
Because you have so many players who sit close to the PC. If I take Olu, for instance, you don't really see Olu on his face cam. You literally just see the top of his head
Yeah.
the entire game. So, like, just place it, I don't know, like, underneath the monitor, like, a little bit behind, so you get, like, a side angle or something.
You're talking about something that would involve a little bit too much work here. Then.
Yeah, it's like moving stuff. It's pretty tough.
I mean, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, you got to think about that, right? Because you want it to be well centered, but then it has to be adjusted each time. Like an admin basically has to have the player sit in the position that he's going to sit in when he plays the game.
Yeah.
Each time. Like there has to be a setup period where it's like, right, okay, within the next 3 minutes, like we're gonna have every camera individually lined up.
But imagine how hilarious it would be, like if you place the cam on the table, the player has a fit and just smashes the table and the camera just goes flying.
That would
how amazing would that be?
You know, what would be more amazing is that the feed just dies because the guy just slammed the camera without realizing it, you know?
Oh, that'd be amazing. I want that to happen.
I mean, obviously the producers and like the director aren't going to be too happy about that, but I mean, shit.
Everybody else is going to be happy.
Everybody else is going to be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about capturing raw emotion,
right? That's the thing, right? I mean, I don't know. I used to think that the split cam was interesting in 1v1 situations because you did actually just like really get to see it in large format, the person's reaction when they lost or they won. But actually now, like I'm pretty against the split cam. Like I kind of changed my opinion on that because it just means there's too much shit on the screen to look at.
Yeah.
So I mean, but yeah, like for a while, that was actually one of my arguments, which was I was just like, you know, but we get to see Pimp, you know, boom, like slam his desk or like, you know, go crazy. I think it was at DreamHack Tours when they were when we were really starting to get into like the whole split cam thing, and DreamHack were the first, I think, to really push the whole like changing camera based on who you're obsing in game.
Yeah.
And then I think it was DreamHack Tours last year, yeah, but that we got to see those kinds of like plays, like Pimp losing. I think it was like that 1v2 or something on Dust 2B site, and he just like raged, like flipped his shit.
I think the best thing you can do is probably like instead of having split cams, you just focus on one guy in the 1v1, regardless of how it like pans out. You just kind of commit to a player and stick with that guy, and just make sure that production has a second observer PC that has, you know, like obviously like a player cam feed and everything going on you know, on a different scene, so you can have like the reaction shot, you know, with the replay afterwards. So then you do get the best of worlds, even though it's a replay for, you know, the other, you know, for one half of them. Still better than not necessarily seeing it, and I think it's also better than just having a split screen, because that's going to take your focus away from everything, because you kind of want to see the reaction from the guy winning and losing at the same time, but you don't have 4 eyes. So it's kind of an impossible job, right, as a viewer.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's just I guess your eye settles on just what you want to watch, right? But
yeah,
it just feels too confusing because you're just not going to be able to adjust everything. Like, I mean, more people that I talk to about watching games and watching CS in particular, right? And it's people who don't watch CS, for example. It's like guys coming from LoL or from Dota or not even gaming, just like they've watched the stream once, right? And so
tune into CPS on a Friday night.
You know, I'm talking to these guys, right? And the majority of the time, what they're saying is it's just like I actually get like motion sickness sometimes from how quick the camera moves. It's just jumping all over the place, and I have no idea what I'm watching because it's just constantly changing, right?
Yeah.
And if that kind of slots into, it feels like the new trend, or at least the trend that E-League are trying to push, and that I'm pretty much like 100% behind now, is to actually just stay on somebody 70% of the round or something, and like you're just following this guy. And obviously that's going to take more knowledge on the observer's part, right? Because they're going to have to know that this guy's going to play the contact position, or this guy's going to play like one of those. I mean, you can obviously switch, but you're staying longer on one guy, and then if action happens on the other side of the map, you're not going to try and flip over there really quick to go and catch it. Instead, you're going to count on the replay actually showing that, right? You know, so it's like you have action on A site, shit went down on B, you show that on replay afterwards and say, oh, right, this happened, we missed it, but here you go, right? I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I like that idea, but you know, not every tournament is going to have that luxury of, you know, a studio setting like E-League.
Well, I don't think you need a studio setting like E-League. I think
Well,
you need
you
two
need-
observers, right? And most of the tournaments are running 2 observers right now, aren't they?
You need 2 observers. Well, then you're going to need a 3rd observer, right, as well. Because if you're going to do 2 observers doing each and every game, then nobody's going to get a break, and the observer's going to die eventually.
Well, that's fair.
So, 'cause I've been through that.
Yeah, speaking from
It's
experience.
tough. Yeah, like sitting in a production booth, just locked away from the outside world for about 14 to 15 hours. It weighs on you. But no, I definitely like the way. As long as you have kind of like a backup plan for what you want to do to show what happened, off camera, then it's perfectly fine. But yeah, you need to have that in place. Otherwise, I think you kind of just have to live with the fact that people are jumping around here and there. Obviously, you want to keep it at a minimum and not just like chase frags desperately. But you need to find a nice middle ground if you don't have multiple observers or multiple feeds.
I think that would be the question then. Is it like a 10 PC setup for the feeds?
Well, that would be the dream, right?
Right, and you don't necessarily need an observer for each one. Like you have a director who's sitting there watching the 10 feeds.
Exactly. So if you have, you only need 1 dedicated observer, and if you have 10 additional feeds, yeah, you just need. Well, again, I guess that's where you can get the 2nd observer, which would be, I guess, a more relaxing job because you don't have to, worry about swapping around here and there. You kind of just have to have a rough overview of where people are going to be, meeting each other, pretty much, having impact. So you can just pick out plays here and there. That would be, the best way of going about it.
Well, Ben, you have. Well, I mean, that was obviously the issue, I think, with Cologne. That the observing, it wasn't actually the observers, it was the observers, their feeds feeding into the director, who didn't really manage to get much going on there. It seemed like he was swapping all over the place. Like the observing was super shit, basically. And it wasn't because of the observers, unfortunately. Apparently it was the director who was fucking everything up. So, I mean, well, that was just
that was rough to watch.
That whole event was just total disaster on a few things, production side.
It was like so good throughout the group stages, and then you get to the playoffs and you're like hyped. Like, this is where it really matters, and then you don't get to see like 90% of what's going on, and there's no, and that's the scenario where you don't really have the backup plan either.
Yeah.
To actually showcase stuff that happened off screen. It's just like, well, that kind of happened, and then you get a replay from the guy that was spectating or the same feed that you saw live. So you basically just watch a kill feed in replay. It's like, okay, super useful.
Maybe that's what we do, Ben. When we get tired of analysis or commentary, we just go into production, man. Fucking own all these kids. Just be like, we know what's up. We know how to put on the best show.
Alchemist sure teach us his ways.
Yeah, exactly. We team up. We take Alchemist. Basically we cherry pick from all sorts of different productions. Make the super production.
Back into it.
Dude, this will be. Oh man, Scoots. Like, this could be like the phase of production. Except I don't want to say that because FaZe don't get out of groups and just, they've got a shitload of talent, but they suck really. And so, it's just like, we're going to be like the FaZe, but we're going to be like a successful FaZe. I don't know how it works.
Like the optimal phase, the full potential phase.
Yeah, the full potential FaZe. That's what I'm talking about, right? Like in an ideal world where FaZe, we're playing like a team.
Stars aligned every single day.
Exactly. Going, decider match. That's how it would have to be, right? Decider match of the tournament. I mean, maybe you can speak to this, but Betta Fish Stickle, right? Being a cameraman for esports must be incredibly boring.
Oh, yeah. It's a fucking terrible job, honestly. Or at least it was when I did it. Because, I'm assuming things have gotten better with time. I would hope so. But from my experiences, it was oftentimes you show up like 3 or 4 hours before anything happens, because call times in esports.
Yes, which is still the bane of our existence.
Yeah, and when you try to argue like, well, couldn't I show up like an hour before because there's literally nothing for me to do. Just like, no, we need you to set up and everything, and then show up 4 hours early, type in the 2 console commands you need to do, and execute your config. Then you're done. Then you sit there. You haven't had hotel breakfast, of course, because you have to be at the venue so early. And food doesn't arrive until midday. but that doesn't really help you because you were the sole observer for the entire event. You have to do every game, so you don't really have any time to actually walk out of the production booth to get food.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on who your producer or director is for the event, some were thoughtful enough to actually look out for you and bring you food. Shout out to Cinto, who did Gamescom, the first year I observed. But yeah, so yeah, you get food like at times if you're lucky, or you run into the fun experience of coming out of the production booth after a best of three, like your third best of three in a row, to see a bunch of KFC emptied out on the table next to you, which is always a good time.
Dude, and this is just painful.
It was rough, man. And like the fact that the days are so long and you started so early and you haven't had sleep for 4 days and everything. Obviously, like your performance level is gonna go to shit as well. So eventually, like you start, it's like falling asleep behind the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
You just lose focus. You're not paying attention at all, and you kind of zone out at times, which is again an awful experience for everyone who's watching. But you're kind of trapped in that prison cell that is the observer booth.
I think the observer function or role is probably one of the most undervalued.
Oh yeah,
undervalued, underpaid, you're like you're
appreciated.
You're the director of the show. Like
yeah.
you're showing what is going on to the screen.
You have the hand of God, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, you control pretty much what kind of excitement that you get out of watching the tournament.
Yeah.
You can tell like what kind of a massive impact it has on a tournament if you compare the group stages of Cologne to playoffs of Cologne. Like what kind of a difference it makes to actually have people who are able to catch the action. Again, well, that wasn't on the observers at Cologne. That was on the producer. But like if things doesn't go smoothly, then it's not that great to watch.
I wonder I wonder what the fallback is there for tournament organizers. Right? In the sense that if an observer tried to basically put up a fight and ask for more stuff, basically, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's the fallback there? Is a TO just thinking, okay, we'll get another guy. Maybe he's not as good, but it'll be good enough. Or we'll have the commentators go back to doing the observing.
Sadly, I think that would be. I think for a lot of tournaments that would be the fallback plan.
Yeah.
Instead of just giving them the rightful rate they deserve, in a sense, they would much rather go with something cheap, and then they can say that this is a process, training up a new guy type of deal.
Yeah.
Which rarely ends well. Usually, Reddit will unleash their fury, HLTD as well, and it's going to be a shit experience for the guys, gone from maybe observing a couple of online games here and there for that league into, being kind of in control of the broadcast for, 250, 300,000 people. And if that's a shit experience, then, he's going to get a ton of backlash. That's going to feel like shit. He probably doesn't want to do it anymore because, well, that's just a, basic human reaction to it. If you get a lot of shit for, something you put out, then it's easy to lose motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no. Sadly, I could see a lot of tournaments going that route. I would hope that they kind of suck it up and give them what they're worth, because they're super important.
It's something that I've been wondering in the past, because observers often get kind of left by the wayside. Like when it comes to invoicing, they have problems. They're not taking it seriously. When it comes to just a bunch of things, it seems like observers, kind of get the short end of the stick. When they do seem, at least to me, to be one of the more core parts of the show, even though they aren't on the show.
Yeah.
It's like an actor doing a fucking full CGI movie. I don't know, like they're not on camera, but they're pretty goddamn important if they're being modeled or they're the ones who.
Voice actors, right?
I don't know. That probably wasn't the best analogy.
No, it works, because imagine having a superly good voice actor for one of these Pixar movies, right? That kind of makes the character you're watching,
Mm-hmm.
makes it more believable, makes it more enjoyable to watch, makes it potentially funnier or what have you, depending on the situation. And if you just had any random guy off the street, that would probably sound like shit.
Mm-hmm.
and then you'd be like, holy shit, I can't believe this guy got a job.
Well,
That kind of stuff.
like Daki Makura right now is bringing up something as well. Like the only thing I hate is that cameraman focusing on the audience.
Oh god,
every
yeah.
round.
And I know this irks, it irks analysts, it bothers commentators, and, well, yeah, a lot of people watching as well, is the fact that a lot of stuff, like, of importance happen after the bomb goes off, for instance, or, you know, when one guy's trying to save a weapon or something.
Sure.
And way too often, you'll have directors just, you know, changing to audience views or like a player cam or something like that instead, to kind of get a reaction just real quick after the round.
Sure.
Even though there's way more important stuff happening in game at that point that you're never going to see. And if you don't have a direct feed of the game on a monitor nearby you, you're completely out of it. And like for commentator, like you would know this, you and Andrew, whenever you do an event and you have a desk that doesn't have like a direct feed to the game.
Well, that's what happened at Cologne.
Yeah, like you'd have no idea of actually like knowing the money situation. You have no idea if the guy who's trying to save actually survived or not, because it was super tense. Like one of the T's was coming around the corner. Like he could have gotten the CT. If the CT survives, then he's going to be able to drop. They can actually force spy and still be in the game. But if he dies, they're going to be super fucked because they're going to have to eco one round and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like so much of that shit gets lost because you're going to have super unessential camera shots of crowds. You know, oftentimes it's, you know, people holding up a sign or something. Like, sure, it's cool that people are showing support in the crowd, but I don't really give a shit about that.
Neither do I, but it's fun because basically those signs, you know, going off of the community reaction, those signs might be the last time you see the signs that you have. Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Nice segue.
No, it's true because at Cologne, it was exactly that, right? Because I, like, personally, I'm not a huge fan of the PGL style, like, production, because I just feel like they're doing way too much shit that gets in the way of actually looking at the game, right? And so me as a commentator, like, basically what happened is we did one game, and it was just, you know, all of that shit going on the screen, and trying to cast with that was just like, nope. And so we actually got them to rig a clean feed straight in, right? Like, just give me the observer's point of view with none of the fluff. Just give me the observer's point of view, and then you have a program out monitor that's showing all the fluff and everything, and so you can see both. And so, you know, if something's actually going on in game, that's all you really care about seeing, right? Like those signs that had the bomb site A and B, there B. Yeah, I doubt that.
I'm actually surprised that it hasn't happened sooner.
That somebody trolled that way and actually did it. Yeah.
Yeah, like that was one of the first things I thought about.
I just thought it was so ridiculous. It's just like it's like so obviously. It's just obviously these kids are just trolling. So like, who gives a shit? Like it's just.
Oh, there's
obviously
a lot of people are gonna be super angry about it.
Everybody got so tilted about it because it's just like, oh, but VP could. You know, the thing is like, yeah, they could. Any of the teams could. Because it's not like in those booths, for example, like tournament organizers using booths, it's not like the booths are one way either. Yeah. In you know, it's not like one-way glass where they see themselves. I mean, obviously, if there's backlighting in the booths and it's dark outside of the booths, okay, it's a little bit harder to see through. But that doesn't stop you from having a coach. Like the sign is just come on. All you need is somebody with a lamp or something up at, like, you know, one-way glass or anything like that. You just need somebody with like a light. You know, like 2 clicks B, 1 click A, or, you know, like a red light and a white light. You know, red light B. There you go.
Yeah.
So you don't see the light? All right, they're going A, guys. They're going A. Like, I don't know. There's all sorts of ways to do this. But it was like, clearly these kids were just trolling. So, I mean, and they got what they wanted, I guess. You know, they fed the trolls. It was perfect.
True. They got a lot of PR for that. I think they got banned from the event though. So.
Pardon me?
You know, I think they got banned from or tossed out from the event.
They did. Yeah, they did.
I'm pretty sure they did. So.
That was what, like the DreamHack statement afterwards or something like that. You know, it's just like they got immediately removed from the venue.
But yeah, no, they could have landed. So I guess the next next step is getting those interrogation glasses, right?
The what?
Interrogation glasses, like you know how it is in like the Wire, for instance, right? You put a guy in an interrogation room, and it's like the one-sided glasses, right? So you can see from one side, and it's just like a mirror on the other one.
I got you. Yeah.
It's gonna have to be the next step.
One-way glass. One-way glass. I mean, the thing is that one-way glass gets defeated if there's light coming in from the other side. So that's
like, it has to be really fucking strong light, though, doesn't it?
Yes. Mirror glass, one-way glass. I mean, that like how, this is the thing, though.
Guys are showing up like the divers flashlights and shit, then you should probably get suspicious, right?
End of the day,
somebody's
bro.
With a phone waving around, then I wouldn't be too worried.
End of the day, and I've been saying this since the good show, is what do you want? If you want it to be totally insulated from caster sound, from crowd sound, from crowd reactions, being able to see the crowd, they need to be in a bunker. And so what needs to happen is the stage itself, like the COD World Champ stage, right?
Yeah.
So you see what I mean, right? They're like really raised up. What happens is you don't actually see the players. They kind of go down into the stage, and into the stage is actually just like cement lined or something, right? Like they get lowered into cement boxes that then a lid comes down on, and then that's it. They're sealed off from the world, and there we go. That's how it has to happen, right? And then they win or whatever.
And of course, what tournaments would do as well.
Comes back up again.
Yeah. This is what tournaments would do to maintain a schedule as well. Give them a limited amount of airtime when they're sealed off. So, you can't go to overtime.
There you go.
That's going to cost you.
Otherwise, they shut off the air going into the boxes or something, right? Actually, talk about motivation. That's how you motivate players, For every round of overtime, it keeps going. Like the O2 coming into the room lowers or something. Like, highly motivated to finish the game.
This is where you're going to see, like, Bolivian teams, like, people who grew up in La Paz and stuff like that really start to shine in CS. Like they can function with a low
right, of course.
Air, right?
No, it's gonna be like it's gonna be the Kenyans, man, just like in the long distance running. It's gonna be the Kenyans that are just that like actually move into CS and win everything, so they can win in those high pressure situations. Oxygen deprivation kicking in.
It's gonna be CS 5 years from now.
I mean, that's the funny thing, right? Because like League of Legends, for example, it's a travesty because they're playing in a 40,000 seat stadium. The noise generated by that crowd, like the players can't even communicate with each other. They with the headsets on, like the Riot refused to have booths because that would limit the interaction. But with the headsets on, the headsets aren't doing shit. All like the players can't even hear one player talking to another player over TeamSpeak. So it literally turns into a pug. Like that's the game, right? Like can't calm, so just ping a lot and hope for the best. Like this is our strat, guys. Stick to the strat. Stick to the strat.
Dota. It's SEA Dota right there. Pings and X marks.
So what we get? And if you think it's just Riot, I mean it's the same thing for the CS for the big CS tournaments operating with only headsets. If you're playing in front of a crowd of 20,000 people, you're gonna hear just like a lot of noise coming at your face, right?
Like the mic's gonna pick up stuff. Like it can only isolate so much,
and
it doesn't just pick up voices like your teammates' voices. It's gonna be like the crowd roar.
Ooh, not bad. Put the players away from the stage, but you put a fake booth with a screen at the front, so it looks like the players are sitting there. Lersha, good on you, man. You could do that. You create a proxy stage.
How bad would that be? Like like the Tupac hologram. I'm thinking like that's what he's thinking, right? So you project the players in the booths.
Oh, this is like some international shit, where they were projecting the characters in front of the booths.
Valve are gonna steal this idea and they're gonna use it for TSO. Guaranteed.
Oh shit! Because you could do it. You could actually have like a proxy stage, and then you set up the cameras and everything for that proxy stage, and then it's just getting projected onto the screen, and so you don't have to worry. The players, they're out in a different building or something. They can play the game. Or they're in back rooms.
Audience still gonna see the reactions. It's all good. I think we solved it.
I think we solved it, dude. I think that's it. Like that's got to be the play. I'm still a fan of like the reverse rising stage, right? Instead that they like their desks just go down into a bunker. I mean, I think that could be pretty cool too. I mean, you could really increase the odds or like the stakes of the game as well. Like the losing team, the bunker gets filled in.
They just die.
Yeah, actually, you know, like just, you
It's
hear
like a
muffled explosions. You know, like
like what's the movie called again? Japanese horror movie or like thriller movie. They like a bunch of school kids gets like sent to an island.
Battle Royale.
Battle Royale. There you go.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you have Battle Royale tournament for CS, like the last one of the year, of course. It's gonna be the final extravaganza. Only one team survives.
And then that
Literally.
guy. Then the question is, you know, that like does he get? Because like he would need to win all the prize money basically. Like all the prize money would have to go to him, so that he doesn't have to come back and play again next year. Or does he have to come back and play again next year?
Ooh,
Just
they
talk
can get
about-
they can get immunity if they do a certain thing, right? Like you can like you can create like even more intensity within the team. Like so, let's say you're obviously like if you beat a team, they're just sent out into the wilderness with pots and pans to destroy each other, which obviously is streamed on another stream. But then you also make an incentive for mutiny within the teams.
Fantastic.
So,
it's like the French
right?
scene on crack.
Exactly. So basically, you just give it's like you said, okay, so you slip, let's say, Sipnick's an envelope mid-game, and doing a tactical pause or something. It's like if you team kill 3 of your opponents, you will be granted immunity and be placed on a different team that progresses to the semifinals. And you're gonna get like 75% of the winnings from Astralis or something. See who takes the deal, like who just like has no soul.
And it's like professional, so it's not even like match fixing. It's part of the game.
Yeah.
Undermining the other team. And they're like no holds barred, no rules. Zipnix opens that envelope. It's actually a picture of his mom, like duct tape. Just like with the game. I don't know. That's horrible. That's horrible.
Then you have the guy from Saw, just like because obviously like it's a like pretty legit envelope with a card in it. Like it's a greeting card that has like one of those things when you open them, but you start playing like a sound file. It's gonna be the Saw guide. Like, you want to play a game? It's brilliant.
There was actually somebody brought up a good point. Hold on, Velocity 1G. I think we've got the solution for his point as well. That that completely takes away the emotion and experience from pro players from being able to play in front of a big crowd, right? The thing is, what needs to happen is that on the front of these fake screen booths, right? Obviously fake screen booths, right? There's also a camera that's facing out towards the crowd. And so in front of the players when they're playing in their bunker or room or wherever they're playing, I still favor bunker, but okay. You basically put a big screen TV in front of them, and then they can see the crowd. There you go.
Yeah,
problem solved.
And you can have like light, light volume kind of thing going on, so that they get the ambiance from the crowd. It doesn't break their ears or anything. You hear like vague shouts from the crowd.
No, exactly. That could. Hold on. How can we do this? Like you just need like a noisemaker, basically. Like you'll have like an admin crew whose job it is to simulate actually playing. Like whether that's
movies,
instruments. Right?
You know what they do for movies, right? Like if you want to get the sound of like a horse running, for instance, you don't actually just take the raw sound bite from what you've filmed.
Mm-hmm.
You have like a guy in the back room sitting with like a coconut and a wooden log. You just like slap it on it to make
Dude, do you know that in the Monty Python, like the Holy Grail, like I don't know, random tidbit.
Yeah.
Apparently the coconut thing came from them actually not having the budget for actual horses. And so they're like, what can we do? We don't have the money for horses. Right, so, coconuts. Go.
Exactly. So, you have people actually do that for a living. So, just get those guys to train the admins. They'll sit there with, I don't know, what they can, like, oil barrels and shit, just, like, knocking on stuff with iron, whatever the fuck.
Uh-huh. It's like they win the game, the admins act like the fans running up to them with signs to sign and, like, cameras and stuff,
Exactly.
And then they win the tournament, and you just have, like, those little party popper, like, firecracker things, like, like, little screamers.
I mean, at a certain point, we're gonna have to introduce CGI, right, to all of this.
Yeah.
So we can just CGI in a crowd that runs towards the booth or something.
And then oh man, is this like we're going too deep here now? We're going too deep.
I feel like
So
you can pitch a lot of this to Turner.
I'm seeing like the CGI stuff, you know, where it's like, when is the FPS gonna happen that actually is like directly wired into your brain so that you feel what your character feels in game? You know?
I'm just waiting
Shit
for
is gonna get real.
I'm just waiting for the first team-based, like, Oculus Rift kind of game.
Yeah.
Like, FPS game.
You know, grenade goes off, you get, like, electrically shocked or something. Like, if you get Zeused in
Yeah.
game, you get Zeused in real life.
Too fucking fun.
But obviously, no lasting physical damage. Maybe some slight
No.
shifts in personality. I mean, that electricity, you know, going through it might not be good,
It's
but...
part of the game, I mean, you see American football players, right?
You know, that's what I'm saying, right?
It's
What's a
great.
concussion? They don't get concussed. That's all bullshit. That is genetics. You know, he was predisposed to losing his mind. That's actually
That-
crazy
I
shit.
think-
Like, there was that
I
video
think
that Will
that's-
Smith did, that movie that Will Smith did,
Yeah.
right? Where it was like a guy who was obviously trying to fight for the football players' rights about...
It's like the Nigerian doctor or something.
yeah, what was it called? Oh, I think it was concussion or something like that.
Yeah, concussed or something like that.
But good movie, guys. Go and watch that if you want. I mean, the thing, like, what could be happening here is that, you know, it's like nothing. Nothing is like the spokesperson, basically. That, you know, playing video games doesn't actually lead to wrist issues, right? Or anything like that. Basically, you know, nothing. He was just like, no, it's not wrist issues. I just fap a lot, you know? Like, that's the thing. It's obviously something else that is causing the physical harm.
I
right?
can see that PSA coming out.
You know, that's the thing, you know? Like, what is it, your dick beaters or some shit like that?
I feel like if we get all of these ideas implemented, they're like wrist issues are going to be the least of the problems. It's going to be like massive onset of PTSD or something. We're going to ruin lives.
I love it. I'm all about it.
It's going to be good
I
entertainment.
feel like there's just so much we could still explore, Ben.
True.
There's so much we could still do.
It's true.
So, you know, that's the thing. Like, someday you and I will be at the helm. We'll have survived all of this shit.
The
And
apocalypse.
we'll be the ones left standing running the show. And then there's going to be real money in esports. And we're going to be able to actually have this sort of stuff like real-life gladiators. That's what I'm talking about. It's like that movie Gamer, you know, where it's like the kids controlling like the prison convicts or whatever, you know.
Shit.
And the shooters, you know, like, oh, guy dies in the game, doesn't matter, kid's still alive. Yeah, we're getting dark.
But yeah, and I love the fact that we got here from the ESL 1 tournament somehow.
Yeah,
I
right.
have no idea how we got
Well,
here.
this is you know, like ESL 1, you know, it's a level of insanity that was there, and it's basically bleeding through into, you know, it's carried through with us, you know. So now whenever we talk about Cologne, we just naturally, you know, just basically mind just
Well,
starts
this is
running off, screaming into a different path so that it's not confronted with what's actually in front of it.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I think so. And yes, 200-word essay. Go bang that out. You can nail that in 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I don't know. I actually can't remember how long would it take to actually write a 200-word essay.
It depends on the topic, right? If
Yeah.
it's just whatever the fuck you want, basically do a recap of what we talked about.
There you
That should
go.
take
There you
5
go.
minutes.
I won't even, you know, come after you for copyright or whatever. Like, just go. Just do it.
Only problem is if your teacher watches the podcast.
Yeah.
Should-
But yeah.
But you know, you have to take risks.
That's what
Part
they're
of life.
getting baited. Alright. So
So I guess at this point we can touch on the third game of round 1.
of New York, right? SK versus the NA qualifier team.
Yeah. Because we strayed off from G2 Astralis into this.
You know, like, how can we do this, man? SK versus the NA qualifier team. I mean, basically,
5 in a row.
Fur is back. I mean, I don't really care about, like, I think SK right now are pretty much like the top dogs. I mean, they should be able to come back and be the team to beat in this tournament. I think that should be pretty clear cut. Unless G2 can somehow run into them, but it looks like they're going to be on opposite sides of the bracket. So,
Well, no, I mean, it being Swiss format, right? So
is it
it's
Swiss? Is this actually Swiss?
No,
Wait.
it's group stage, right? So round 1, like if G2 beat Astralis, SK beat Optic, Cloud9, and whoever goes through.
That's right. So they will play against each other.
There will be blood.
There will be blood. I like it.
Yeah.
More blood.
I actually like how like a lot of these matchups are set up, like in terms of storylines. Obviously, like if you go with like Navi Liquid, for instance, obviously simple. With Navi now going up against Liquid.
Yeah.
After leaving them and everything, it's like Pimp's opportunity to show that he can be as valuable of an asset as simple, even though that's a pretty pretty tough shoot.
Pretty tall order.
Yeah.
Pretty tall.
So it's a lot of cool storylines going into that. Honestly, and I think it's like regardless of what happens and how the first round goes in terms of who wins and who loses, you're gonna get pretty sick round 2 matches as well. I mean it's bound to happen because all of 8 teams that are going there are pretty sick.
It's gonna be a bloodbath, dude.
Yeah,
I'm actually really excited about this.
5 rounds of it as well. That's the best part. So you're gonna get so many good matches, even before the playoff gets started.
All right, who's not gonna make it? I think Liquid don't make the cut right out of the groups. I don't think that Liquid
like
have the.
4, right?
Pardon me.
Top 4 goes through.
Top 4 goes through. So
yeah, I'm thinking all left side actually. VP,
basically.
G2, SK, Navi.
That's kind of like we're into big upset territory even with Olaf. I mean, you got Lecro and Twist for some heavy hitters.
He's been playing really well as of late.
Yeah, shit. It's like on a good day, Fnatic could beat VP.
Yeah,
so they could sneak a win out there somewhere.
The worry for me is the fact that because it's Swiss format, like just getting a win. If it would have been round robin or GSL format, 1 win would have meant so much.
Yeah, that's fair.
But here, it's like you win 1 game. It's like, well, you still got 4 to go, so you can still go 1 and 4 very easily because there's so many good teams here. And like it's not like it with Swiss format, your matches are not going to get easier if you win. That's kind of the cool part about it, because if VP wins versus Fnatic and G2 wins versus Astralis and then they go up against each other, that's not an easy matchup at all.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing goes happens if you go 2-0. I can't remember who it was actually, but I think it was one of the teams during the Katowice qualifier who went up 2-0 and then ended up going 2-3.
Was it the group phase or?
I think the entire qualifier was just Swiss groups, right?
Oh shit! Yeah.
So
that's when they first did the Swiss group format, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I think it was one team. I can't remember who though, but I had this inkling that one team went 2-0, got off to a great start, then faltered completely, then 2-3 didn't qualify for the major. That thing, because you needed 3 wins or 4 wins or something to it. So.
I fucking hate searching for things on HLTV. I swear.
Dude, just Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm sorry, Peter, if you're watching this. You're probably not watching this. You got better shit to do, but definitely, I feel so bad, just horrible. Going to Wikipedia right now for my information. But then again, we've talked about this in the past, bro. You know that.
Yeah.
So let's see. Give me the main page, goddammit. There we go. Completed. Where's the history on Liquid again? God. Tournaments, there it is. Okay. Premier events, and this is gonna go way back. Was it March 2016?
It was in March.
Wasn't it? Or yeah, it was in March, wasn't it? Is this 2016 now? I'm looking at 2016. Yes.
I'm not sure if you're looking at 2016.
Oh, it's this is what they call it, right? Intel Extreme Masters X World Championship. Oh. Where the fuck is it? There. Katowice. Thank you. Yep, that's
Star Ladder is also like painful to actually figure out what tournaments what, because they just they'll have 3 tournaments, within the span of 6 months, and they're all named something completely different, even though they're like the successor of each other.
Yeah.
It's just a mess trying to figure out what happened where.
It's so fun how things change even in the space of 6 months. Like even going back now and looking at some of these, it's just like EFRAG was still a team back then, capable of beating other teams. Copenhagen Wolves still had a roster back then.
Yeah.
And somehow lost to Sports. And were never heard from again. The Hund was let loose to run in the wild, howl at the moon, lick his balls. I mean, pretty much that's...
He's back again, though.
He is back, actually. Yeah, hold on. But I'm trying to find... There's like 10 pages of qualifiers here. European Qualifier 1, European Qualifier 2, IEM Season 10 Taipei,
Okay.
which was
I
basically
got the link for the offline qualifier.
that was Mongols getting in for
Yeah, you just taking a detour here.
North
I
American
linked that.
qualifier. It was not Swiss format. All these are single brackets, man.
Dude, I linked you on Skype.
You linked me? I can't look at Skype.
Oh, okay, so where can I link you?
Jesus Christ, DM me.
Okay.
That
On
works.
Twitter?
That should work. I can't look at Skype. I made this mistake last week.
God damn it, son. You had one job.
I had one job. I failed.
Alright, let's see here. No, that's the wrong button. There you go. Bam! Give you right now.
Well, I felt my phone buzz.
It's a good sign.
That was a good sign.
That was 16 team Swiss format.
Jesus, what was this? Oh, this was for Cologne.
Yeah, you know, we're
talking
going
about
back to
fucking
Katowice.
Katowice over here.
Well, yeah, the qualifier was hosted in Katowice.
Who
So I
won
think
the
that-
who won their first two games?
No.
They bailed out. Oh, wait, no?
Let's see, round high.
I think you're lying to us, bro.
Let's see here. Okay, G2 went up 2-0. Then they lost 16-1 versus Mouse. Gambit also went 2-0. And then...
No other team went 2-0 and failed to make it out.
Alright, I must be remembering wrong.
I mean, G2 came fucking close.
Yeah, because G2 started 2-0, lost to Mouse in horrible fashion with Dennis just going apeshit, getting like 9 million frags. Then they lost to Gambit in their next game, so then they were 2-2.
Yeah.
And then they had to play the deciding game versus Cloud9. So it was G2 I thought about. I was thinking of.
My main problem here with Liquid, you know, it's sick that we can check the results, right?
Yeah.
But, like, I want the stats now. They have to give me, like, a full stat page.
You want more.
More. I need more.
Like, you want it for the Cologne qualifier in Katowice?
Pardon me?
What tournament are you looking for the stats?
No, I'm just speaking in general.
Or just in general,
I'm
okay.
just gently analyzing. Just, you know.
But I guess the point still stands. Like, regardless of how well you do initially in a Swiss group format, it's not going to get any easier. Like, it's going to be ruthless the entire time, which is really cool.
I'm excited.
Yeah, dude.
It's
I'm just
gonna
like
be
super envious of the fact that you guys are going to be in the Barclays Center.
Well, why? Because like the New York Knicks play there or something?
No, it's the Brooklyn Nets, and that's not much to be envious about.
I was about to say, like, I
Yeah.
don't even know who plays in the Barclays Center.
But no, like the arena itself is brand new, and it's like super sick. Like it's so dope. Like the outside of it is just the design and everything is baller as fuck, especially during night.
Right.
So make sure you get a ton of pictures for Instagram.
I don't know if I want to walk around in Brooklyn at night. Just saying.
No, but like just step outside the center and then just take a picture and then walk inside. I think that's okay.
Okay, that's
I
all right.
think you're safe.
Yeah.
Like it looks dope as hell, and I'm pretty sure like ESL has a pretty good idea, like a badass stage they can set up. I'm curious how they're gonna work actually with because obviously like it's gonna be like hockey games and basketball games there most of the time, and like there you have the crowd surrounding the entire arena.
It sounds like it's gonna be a nightmare for the sound guy.
Yeah, so I'm wondering how they're going to do it, if they're basically just going to cut the court in half, have stage on one side, and then just like blank out half of the stadium and just fill up the rest of it.
That's probably how it's gonna go down.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, they've been very quiet about ticket sales, so like, who knows?
But it's
how many
it's a massive fucking stadium now, so...
But then again, there's still a week left, so we can still expect the Twitter spam coming from ESL pretty soon. Get those last tickets, guys.
Because I know, like, obviously, like, the stadium, like, increases in capacity and shrinks and, well, yeah, increases and decreases depending on what kind of setup they have. Like, it's smaller for ice hockey because the rink takes more space. Basketball court. And if they're having a concert there, then there's even more room. Because obviously, like a stage doesn't take the entire space of a basketball court. So I'm guessing it's going to be like, well, if they're cutting it in half, then there would probably be like spots for around like 7,000 plus people or more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
probably more.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's going to be space. It's just.
Yeah, if they can fill it up.
It's going to be fucking. Yeah. I
mean, I'm
kind of distracted now.
That's actually one of the things that annoys me as well. Like, or it just like irks me the fact that, like, sometimes you have games that are not, being played during prime time.
Sure.
In like whatever location it is. So maybe you have a game at like 9 a.m. Like, obviously not a lot of people are going to show up for that, but still, some producers love to show crowd shots of a fucking empty space.
It's because they need to, because it's like ingrained in them, and it's also because they have no other supporting
but it looks
content.
So weird. But it looks so weird. Just like keep it in game or keep it on the players or something.
I mean, that's what I would say, right? Like, keep it, like, I think 70% of the time it should be staying, like 60 to 70% of the time it should be staying in game. And if you want to show something, then you show it in a picture-in-picture sort of thing, right? Where it's like it's not in the way of the scoreboard or the person saving or whatever. Or if you're going to show it, then show it during the buy period or the buy phase leading into the next round. Like, not at the end, immediate end, bomb goes off, boom. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like they do it because they're like, it's just because it's ingrained in you to think, well, actually, maybe we're coming at this from the wrong angle. Because I remember E-League, this might be, okay, so I remember E-League during the rehearsals. I heard a story coming from the control room that apparently, like, the head honcho running the show was watching, and the director wasn't, switching his cameras enough, right? Mm-hmm. And the head honcho was just like, switch some fucking cameras, right? And so the director just starts like spamming away, camera switch, right? And so I wonder if it's like ingrained in them to just like, oh man, I got all these cameras, I gotta use all these cameras, and so they're just doing it, right? Because they have so many cameras, not because it's like the best part of the show or it's adding anything in particular to the show. I feel like most of the time it's just
want to make the director work.
It's not even that. I don't know. It's like trying to show, oh my God, look at how many people are in this venue. I don't know. It's like.
Well, the problem is when there's not that many people in the venue, right?
Yeah. In which case, then you need to have, I don't know. Like, do you have stat pages that come up really quickly, or like, do you, or is it just, or do you just really only focus on replays?
I don't think it should be like too much effort that's gonna have to be put into it to actually find some filler content. Because we're not talking about an extended period of time, right?
We're talking about like 30 seconds between rounds, right?
Well, not even that, right?
20,
because,
I guess.
Yeah, like short amount of time, and it doesn't necessarily have to like pan to like a crowd shot between every single round either. So like, let's say you do it like maybe 6 times during the game or something. Because like at the beginning, it doesn't really matter. Crowd's not going to be too hyped about, Team X winning an anti-eco. That's not going to create a lot of buzz. Mm-hmm. But once you get towards the later stages, then sure, crowd's going to get more into it. They're going to be yelling, shouting, jumping, whatever. So then it makes more sense. But if there's not that many people in person at the venue, then get a couple of stat sheets up or something, or like player profile kind of thing going on, which doesn't take a lot of time to fill out.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be selfish
and
right. Say, give me
camera time.
Give me camera time. There you go. Boom! I said it.
But that could work as well, because like honestly, like so many of the you and Anders, Henry and Matt, like pretty much like all of the I guess solidified duos and everything when it comes to commentators and CS are really good at just handling dead air and like fill time. Like that comes like second nature to you guys. You can just sit there for 40 minutes and talk shit if it's required of you. So for you guys to fill 20 seconds of something, that's no-brainer for you guys. That's not even an issue.
Well, it's like technical pause or something along those lines. I don't know, because we're sitting there. There is a camera, but it gets used 10 seconds out of the game, right?
Yeah.
And people don't know who's talking to them. I'm just going through my head right now. but people don't know who's talking to them if they're just tuning into the screen.
Yeah.
And we're like, there's also something about, okay, this is like personal, right? But there's something about interacting when you know that somebody's on the camera, because otherwise it's just like this, right? I'm leaning back in my chair, Anders is leaning back in his chair, and we're just shooting the shit, But like if the camera's on, all of a sudden you get a little bit more involved. But it just feels like you're a little bit more into it, right? 30-second window, boom, throw it back to game. If there's a delay or something, I'm not saying come to us every time, but I'm saying it could be done more often.
Oh, for sure. And I think it's definitely better than showing empty seats.
Oh yeah, or just the same boom cam shot that you've seen fucking 100, 150, 200 times already today. As you go to it every goddamn time, like you could actually that's the thing. I don't know. I don't know if it's against things though, because
I don't see like the downside of it. If anything, you're creating variety so it feels fresh. Because it's like you said, seeing the same boom shot 99 times over and over again.
It's just they want to avoid talking heads as well, right? That's the thing. It's like if you're going to come to us, then what would be ideal is you have supporting graphics to work with. Like for the analyst desk, right? Analyst desk very rarely gets supporting graphics because of the amount of work that actually has to go into preparing those graphics. And so that's a really tough thing for a tournament organizer, for example, that has to be on the road. That are setting up an event, and that it's like event crews and all sorts of bullshit that's going on behind it. Do they have the guys who are like a graphics team who can sit down and get prepped and who can just bang out graphics, boom, 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 to support the cast? Like analysts, 3 points, 4 points, 5 points, or just spontaneously like, oh, they're talking about this guy, boom, bring him up, that sort of stuff.
Exactly.
It's really, it's actually more demanding. So the easier thing is, this is why most of the time